96 won the game.
Live from high atop Monroe Center in downtown Grand Rapids, we're talking about what matters most to you in West Michigan. Join the conversation now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on Wood Radio.
Oh, at least the sun is shining. That's that's all I can say about that. Yeah, it is. Thankfully, because if it weren't, holy smokes, it's cold, folks. Cold today, and we'll give you the heads up on where things are headed this weekend and more on the way. Stand by for that. The latest stories you will not hear anywhere else, and the context that matters. Truth, logic, common sense. So we got the latest about the January 6th pipe bomber, and the one thing nobody's telling you. Hang on.
News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now, today's Big Three.
Yeah, like I said, the stories that matter most, we'll be talking about these around the water cooler, the dinner table, no matter where you are. Powered by our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage. Dave Galloway and the team ready to help you. We heard just yesterday, I think I saw something, the interest rates are ready to drop again next week. Announcement expected from the Federal check-in with maybe Dave next week to get the update on that. But now's the time. If you've been looking or thinking whether you need to get a better rate on the home you already have, or it's time to move. Home equity line of credit as well. They can help you do all three of those things, and they have a heart of a teacher to walk you through the whole process. HHMlending.com. Reach out to Dave and the team today.
Number one.
Yes, like I said, that pipe bomber story is front and center. He'll be in court today. Brian Colt Jr. is his name. And he's finally been identified. Yesterday, we were walking through, why don't we know who the guy is? There's so many questions surrounding this whole thing. And one, I think that one of the pieces we got yesterday explains why we didn't know who the guy was, why they never told us. And it might be, in fact, part of Jake Tapper's reporting yesterday. I don't know if you saw this. Jake Tapper reported Brian Colt Jr., whose face you can now see on the behind-the-scenes live stream. Clearly, 30-year-old young man, a young black man. Tapper called him white, which is really interesting. I think maybe it didn't fit the narrative, but there's more. There's more, because it's not just about race, although they make everything about that. He had strong Antifa ties. In fact, from reports we're seeing online, that his family members were engaged in bail bonds business, where they were helping bail out illegal aliens. Interesting developments on this story. We'll continue to bring. I got a few more pieces. The one piece I haven't heard anybody talking about nearly.
Number two.
There's a Michigan connection. I'll talk about that coming up in just a second. Well, they hit another one. Another boat taken out yesterday. One of those narco boats. A discussion of killing all those terrorists. Yeah, we're still doing it. The Pentagon says U.S. forces carried out another deadly strike on a suspected narco-trafficking boat in the Pacific, killing 4 men. Officials described as an armed, hostile encounter tied to ongoing counter-cartel operations. There's some people that don't agree with this. Those people, I seriously question their judgment.
Number three.
ICE agents here in Michigan picking up a 44-year-old illegal alien from Cuba who'd been living and working right here in Grand Rapids, even though he'd already been convicted in another country or county for child sex crime involving a victim between the ages of 13 and 15. The only reason you know about is because of the Midwesterner. I must have missed this report on the other stations. Our good friend Kyle Olson here from the Midwesterner, the Midwesterner.news. I want to talk a little bit more about this guy, the Michigan connection to the J6 pipe bomber, and more. In the meantime, it's Free for All Friday. You can join us, hit the phone lines, or use that talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app.
Call Justin now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
All right. Welcome in. Kyle, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Good morning.
Never a dull moment here. It's just one thing after the other. This story, oftentimes we hear, it's same with these boat stories. You get the left and people that hate Trump that are out there pushing some propaganda that all these people are doing something horribly inhumane, but, they forget, like with the trafficking of the narcotics, they forget what that does to our country. And they take a trip to Skid Row or to Philadelphia where people are zombied out on the streets in some of these places, and the thousands upon thousands of lives that these drugs have taken. They completely forget about it. They forget about Ruby Garcia, folks here in Grand Rapids. Hopefully we haven't forgotten that young woman who was killed cold blood at the hands of her boyfriend, who had been deported under the Trump administration, made his way back under Biden. Of course, he was here, and he never should have been here. If he wasn't, she'd still be alive. His stories like that. And then this next story. This man who was roaming the state, apparently, 44-year-old, working in Grand Rapids from Cuba originally, convicted of a child sex crime in Kent County's 17th Circuit Court. Tell us the story. Bring us up to date.
Yeah, so the Midwesterner has been covering these stories of the illegal aliens, as you said, and the latest one was over Thanksgiving weekend. While we were all celebrating Thanksgiving, ICE was at work getting bad people, arresting and getting bad people out of the country. And so the latest one was this guy in the city of Wyoming, Mario Infante Querol, he had previously been convicted of fourth-degree criminal sexual conduct, and he was arrested. He's been in America for decades, and but the Trump administration is saying we were getting dangerous criminal illegal aliens. We're arresting them and processing them and getting them out of this country and sending them back to their home countries.
Has there been any? I'm just curious. I haven't. I'm not saying that there isn't, but I haven't seen any. Has there been any other reporting on this story, other than the information coming out of the Department of Homeland Security, ICE, et cetera, and their official accounts? I haven't seen anything else. Is there anything else out there?
I've not.
You'd think this is something the paper might want to cover. You'd think it is something one of the news stations might want to pick up. This is just nowhere to be found, huh?
Well, it's similar, as you said, to the Ruby Garcia tragedy, and these sorts of stories don't have to happen, because if we have a secure border and if we have a policy that says if you're in the country illegally, you are going to be captured, and processed and removed. That's what people are expecting, and these sorts of stories don't need to be happening. And but as you said, it goes against the local media doesn't want to talk about this. I don't know why they don't want to talk about this. They didn't want to talk about the fact that Ruby Garcia's killer was an illegal alien, and you told us, and we were the ones that pursued that and proved that, and then it became such a big thing they weren't able to avoid it any longer.
Well, listen, Kyle, we only knew because we got a tip from somebody who listens to the program. Don't tell me they didn't hear the same thing. I'm sure they did. They just didn't follow through on it.
Correct. That's right. So
that's
why we're going to continue doing what we're doing, because there's a lot of stories that the Lansing media, Detroit media, Grand Rapids, they just don't want to cover.
Whitmer's Fednapping hoax. How does Whitmer's Fednapping hoax tie into the January 6th pipe bomber case? Great question. Julie Kelly online on X posting, never forget that the guy in charge of the pipe bomb investigation And listen, that I'm reading the details of this. I told people afterwards yesterday when we were on the after show, Kyle, there's no way they did not know who this was. There is absolutely no. When you look at I said they were down using cell phones signals and bank accounts to track people down who took a tour through the Capitol building. You're telling me they didn't know, and now we have video of this guy. He was on his cell phone. They did have the credit card tied to where he bought all of this. They knew. They just sat on it because it would have completely demolished their entire narrative. Julie Kelly writing, never forget that this guy, Stephen D'Antonio, head of the DC FBI office, promoted after heading up the Detroit FBI office during the Whitmer Fednapping hoax. This is the point in the plan and the plot where they had what? 12 out of the 18 people involved with that thing were working for the FBI, working to try and get her elected, probably reelected as governor and maybe eventually as a president. I mean, that was what the plan was. It put her in a very victim sort of a spotlight, and eventually she was able to go on and win as governor. But this is incredible to me because these people, they fail upwards.
Well, and yes, you're right. And there are so many surveillance cameras in Washington, D.C. Probably
there's so many surveillance cameras on my block, in my neighborhood. You can't. This is outright. There's either two things that are happening here. They either hid this or they're completely incompetent. And I don't know which one's more dangerous.
Well, and wasn't it interesting that in the last 48 hours, we've seen videos of this guy walking down sidewalks, standing around, talking on his phone. We've seen more videos, new videos in the last 48 hours than probably we've ever seen. And why is that happening? Because, as you said, the FBI has had this information. It's been sitting there, and they just decided not to do anything with it. And you're right. This connection to the whole alleged Whitmer kidnapping case. That guy then gets promoted to Washington, D.C., where they're tracking down old ladies who were in the Capitol, but somehow they can't find this person.
Unreal.
The whole thing is very strange. And I think what needs to happen, because this connection is really interesting, what needs to happen is the Kash Patel FBI needs to release what exactly happened with that whole alleged plot. The Whitmer plot.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. I don't know how quick they're going to be able to get to it because there's so many things happening. But I know there are connections. You have them, we have them, but we all ought to make sure that we ask for that, and the president understands it's a priority for us. Because look, here's the deal: we got to root this sort of corruption out. We've got to make sure that it's completely wiped off the slate. Because that's when these cockroaches survive, that's how this stuff continues to happen again and again. Okay, it's not all bad news today, by the way. There's lots of good news. In fact, there's a big win. Jocelyn Benson taking another L yesterday in court. The most lawless Secretary of State. Let's hit that, and then I'll let you tell us what else is happening at the Midwesterner.
Yeah, so she lost in court because the RNC sued because she issued an illegal order, illegal guidance to clerks saying that they should count absentee ballots if the number on the ballot doesn't match the number on the envelope. They should still count those and process those. And that was an illegal order. And the RNC has sued again about how ballots are counted, how long they can be counted. And so that case is also going to be heard. And so I think the difference that we're seeing now versus 2020 and I think probably also 2022 is that the RNC and the Republicans and some local clerks are on the offense, and they are proactively suing her to make sure that her guidance is in accordance with the law versus trying to wait until after the election and clean it up then. And so I think it bodes well for election integrity that they are aggressively, suing her and making sure that her guidance is in accordance with the law before the election versus after.
Yeah, always a pleasure to hear from Kyle Olson, the team at the Midwestern, the Midwesterner.news. Anything you guys are keeping an eye on or working on, we should keep in mind over the next few days?
Well, the state of Michigan is scrambling to put data centers all over the state, and so we're tracking where those are popping up. Our issue, to me, my issue with this is that it's sort of Goshen 2.0, where you've got very wealthy companies involved, you've got local officials. They're trying to force these into local communities that, what we've seen so far is they don't want them. And there's secrecy agreements involved. It's so bad, the Attorney General cannot see these contracts that are being struck. It's crazy. And so there's one that's being proposed in Lowell, so people should know that that's being considered. But we're going to stay on this because it's really interesting to see how this is sort of the new EV craze, and Whitmer and Michigan are actually behind what other Great Lakes states are doing. But we're going to continue following this.
Yeah, and it's a tough story because look, we're gonna need them at some point throughout the country. There's going to be a push for this, but how we go about it and what we give up for it, there should never be an issue when it comes to not letting these folks locally speak up and talk about it. So it's something we need to continue to push towards. Thank you for the updates, my friend. Always a pleasure.
Happy to. Thanks.
You got it. It's Kyle Olson, the Midwesterner, the Midwesterner.news. Back with more in minutes, folks. This train rolling right along, a free for all Friday. You can jump on the phone line at any time. Welcome in. Back after this.
December 5th, I'm Robin Poffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. The Saline Township Data Center splitting Michigan Democrats. Dana Nessel blasts the project that Jocelyn Benson's husband is pushing that Governor Whitmer supports. Governor Whitmer warning commissioners time is of the essence as she argues in favor of a proposal from DTE Energy to fast-track approval for plans to power the data center. This will involve the largest increase in energy demand in Michigan state history. Another court rules that Secretary of State Benson's election guidance violates the law. The ruling from the Michigan Court of Appeals marks at least the 8th time courts have ruled against her. And it's a sign of the season, President Trump and First Lady Melania lighting the outdoor White House Christmas tree. For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
And welcome in, folks. The behind-the-scenes live stream rolling right along on a free-for-all Friday. And man, oh man, we're already speeding through it. This hour is just going to fly. I can already feel it. Good morning, Mando. Good to see you. I got to return your email, by the way. Guys, this is the last chance. The folks over on Locals behind-the-scenes live stream VIPs, Locals VIPs, last chance this week for a couple of things, but it's the last chance today. If you want to join in, get the VIP for, I think it's 4 months off, 4 months free for an entire year. Mando Mark took advantage of that deal. It comes down to like I think we said $6 a month or something like that, which is a super deal. It's $9 a month as it is now, but if you want to take advantage of that, that's the way to go. Other than that, we got some VIP lifetime members that have taken advantage of that offer, and you'll see. You see Gritter and how special he is with his little star. You've always known Gritter's a superstar. That's how you know you've got a lifetime founding member right there with Gritter. If you have questions about that or want to know, just email me, Justin at justinbarclay.com, and we'll fill you in. The other thing happening is 25% off in the store. Xmas25 is the code. That wraps up this weekend as well. So if you want to get in and get some gear, faith, family, freedom, truth, logic, common sense, and support the show, that's the best way to do it. Best deals of the year. Whiskers over on Rumble SJ. Good to see you. Such a time as this. Julianne Mando, Outdoors Gal, Happy Hunter, Jeremiah. And by the way, BKVE, Kelly, good to see you too. I hope I didn't miss anybody else over on Locals. Over on the book, Bruce, Ruth, Bunny, Michelle, Tammy, thank you so much. Mike, Sean, so many others rolling right along, folks. Here we are back on the air in just moments. We got folks on the tube on X and on Getter today. Say hey if you're watching any of those places so I can give you a shout out as well. It'll pop it back up to the top of the screen for us. All right, stand by here, folks. Back on the air.
Stations like iHeart Christmas Classics, iHeart Country Christmas, and tons of playlists to set the mood. You've got enough to do. Let us handle the music. Open the free iHeartRadio app now and start listening.
Set Wood Radio is a preset now on our iHeartRadio app. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto accident attorneys. Visit autolaw.com.
That's autolaw.com.
Fastest hour on radio is flying by yet again, man. We got so much to talk about and get to today. And I know you want to chime in as well. It's Free for All Friday. So here's the number, 616-774-2424. Dial that up or hit us on the iHeartRadio app. Just click that microphone button next to the play button, and the talkback feature is raring, ready to go. We'll talk to you after we grab our bottom of the hour headlines. After this, it's West Michigan Live on Wood Radio.
Press 1 for balances. Press 2 for deposits.
All right. Now let me since we're in the news, let me see what I can play if I've got something good too. Yeah, this is another piece. The FBI let the woke pipe bomber go. This is another. We just so much of this story that has to be like completely unpacked, and I don't know that I've even done a fair job of that this morning at all just yet. Okay, let's walk through some of that, shall we? Shall we? Julie Kelly, by the way, we've had her on. She's been on this show. She's been on when I filled in on Glenn Beck before. She's probably I'd say like maybe the one of the foremost experts on the January 6th, the whole thing. I mean, she sat in on the trials for so many of these people and the sentencing. I know she was there for Ryan Kelly. She's somebody who knows this subject like in and out. And if you really want to get like a good grasp on what's going on, she's the one. you're going to want to look up over on X. You see, we follow each other. She's Declassified with Julie Kelly, declassified.live. But she is somebody. Cash Patel follows her. Of course he does. Yes. Let's see. Let's go through because she just reposted this. This might be a good thread to get us there. Get your popcorn and read this epic takedown. John Nance says, so we've learned that the January 5th, 6th pipe bomber has been arrested and will be facing at least a charge of 18 U.S.C. 844, use of an explosive device. The subject, Brian Cole Jr., not a female, will almost certainly face terrorism enhancements as well. FBI Director Cash and Bongino are to be commended for their leadership decisions, which led to the reorganization of the J6 pipe bomber investigation. By the way, when they said we took fresh eyes, we took a fresh approach at this, you know what that really means? They actually did the investigation and held this guy accountable. They've always known. You tell me they didn't know, or yet worse, because it could be much worse if you start to look at who the guy was and connections to Antifa and the rest of it. The J6 pipe bomb. Well, think about the Fednapping hoax and all that. Okay, so I don't have to say everything for you to understand exactly what I'm talking. I don't know how much these platforms are going to let me say right now. I know we're being throttled on Facebook all the time anyway. Like I know this type of thing is always happening anyway. So. I got to be a little careful about what I say, but I also want to make sure that you understand what I'm saying here. The Fednapping hoax, we call it that for a reason. They had 12 people that had ties to the FBI, either they were informants or worse, right? Like tied in, like inside the investigation here in the Whitmer Fednapping hoax. So this guy, the guy that was working with the FBI, he gets promoted to D.C., and then January 6th happens. And I don't know how long we've been talking about that. Julie's been talking about it ad nauseum for a long time. And it's true. It makes you wonder. It really does. Especially in the climate, in the environment in which he was promoted. Who promoted him? So Nance goes on to say this action took place months ago. Has been diligently and persistently investigated by FBI agents at WFO. Some 3 million lines of data were analyzed, data ignored by the Biden-era FBI. That's probably cell phone stuff. As Bondi went to great pains to stress, this arrest is in no way based on new information, but as a result of Trump's revamped FBI. So it's not new information. It's information they've had the whole time. The whole time. So you just understand that. What's happening here. It's quite incredible if you really take time to think, hang on, we got to get back on the air. Stand by. I didn't realize how far we were. Here we go.
We're listening to West Michigan Live with our good friend Justin Barclay. The Glenn Beck program coming up at 10.
The pipe bombs at the RNC and the DNC on January 5th, 2021. He has been charged with violating 18 U.S.C. 844, which is use of an explosive device. This investigation is ongoing. As we speak, search warrants are being executed, and there could be more charges to come. I'm going to let our U.S. attorney discuss that shortly. This was the work of multiple agencies working together. This morning's operation was carried out safely and successfully.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about all of this? Just mentioned it. We talked about this on a behind-the-scenes live stream, but there's no new information. This is all used with information they had prior. They just took a fresh look, fresh eyes on this whole thing. And again, that shows you a Biden administration. They knew who this guy was. I guarantee you. If they didn't know, that's even more egregious. That's even more horrific, more frightening. Now, I will tell you this. Speaking of frightening, this is par for the course, and I think why they're done as a source with any credibility whatsoever. Here he is, Jake Tapper, making the announcement that Brian Cole Jr., who you can see clearly on the screen, is not a white male. Is a white male. Listen to this.
Capitol attack. Brian Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburbs, is charged with transporting an explosive device in interstate commerce and with malicious destruction by means of explosion. CNN.
Yeah, I don't know why or how they get away with this. Unless I will say this. I don't know why, but I did originally assume when I heard his name that that's who we were talking about. I didn't, but I also assumed we're going to be talking about somebody who's like far left, but that did fit. I don't know why I also assumed that. So as soon as I saw his picture, I said, "Oh, I guess this is why he's." Well, this is it right here. This is why we'd never known who he is. Oh my gosh. And I've got more. We're going to have to get through some of this here in just a little bit from the announcements yesterday and what else we found out, what else matters inside the this whole takedown. Coming up, we'll do just that. Let me grab some phone calls first. Bob in Grand Rapids, patiently waiting on a free-for-all Friday. Welcome in, Bob. You're on West Michigan Live.
Brother Justin, I trust you had a blessed Thanksgiving, being thankful. I know you are with your family, etc., and so did we. But what I wanted to share was two things. The easiest, simplest first. These six seditionists, and I'm retired military, and there's 134 in the UCMJ, Uniform Code of Military Justice. There's all kinds of things in there, and I haven't read that in years, because I'm no longer active, but that's some pretty serious stuff. And I'll close with this before I get to the meat of what I want to share. If you're retired, no matter whatever you are, active duty, enlisted, or officers, if the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of War, if they decide they can recall you to active duty, you could take it to court and anything, but you're done. You'll be recalled active duty. That's what they're thinking about doing with Mark Kelly. He was a captain in the Navy. He was also an astronaut, He's a senator, left wing out in Arizona. And this Army guy was a captain. I don't know what he did. They can be recalled, and there's nothing they can do about it. So that's number one. Number two, I wanted to share something. We have good friends that alerted to this guy. He's a former converted Muslim radical. His name is Andrew Sedra, and he's a pastor. I don't think it's in Houston or somewhere. He's a converted Muslim. He's lead pastor of a large church, and he was talking about Mondami there and other Muslims who are all over our country. And what he did is he exposed Islam's beliefs. And we know some of them. Even the fake news will mention it when they're not lying their pants off. But anyway, he's under Sharia law. There's a name for the thing. In order to convince people to become Muslims, it's okay to lie and twist things in order to get them to think, hey, we're not that bad, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So to convert people to Islam. So it's okay for you to, and a litany of other things that Islam believes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Hey, Bob, you're absolutely right. This is something that we've talked about before, and Taqiyya, I think, is the name of that practice that peace are allowed to do that. It is a thing. People ought to go in and look that up. I don't think Mamdani. He smiles a bit. And he tells people he's going to give them free stuff, but I will tell you, I think that's going to collapse on the weight of where it's at. Or they're already not getting everything that they're not getting the free buses. Probably not going to get the grocery stores with any sort of food. I don't think the guy's going to be able to make the dent. Now, I do think we ought to keep our eye on it, though. It is something that we've talked about at length, and I appreciate your phone call today, which is so much happening. I got to get through some of these if I can. Welcome in, Cindy. You're up next in Kalamazoo.
I just wanted to say I am so not tired of winning. President Trump is doing an excellent job. You are doing an excellent job. Our state is doing an excellent job in bringing all these corrupt people in our local government and our state government to task. I am so sick of lying, cheating, stealing. We have to get back to honesty, transparency, and truth. And President Trump and you and all the people you have on are leading that and lead by example. I love it.
Oh, thank you, Cindy. We appreciate you. Listen, none of this happens without you, without your support. This radio program, everything that we do, and getting the word out, truth, logic, common sense. It only happens because we've got you in here supporting and, of course, sharing when we do these shows, the stories. Obviously, you can share. You can call somebody up, text them, say, turn on the radio, or you can also tell them to go, download the podcast. You got to listen to this. Send them links to the shows and things like that. We just appreciate and thank you for staying in the fight with us.
Absolutely. 100%.
You got it. God bless. Hey, have a happy free for all Friday. A couple of great calls. All right. Listen, got to run through a couple of other things. There are numbers that I want to get into as well before we get out of here today. These are numbers that you're not going to hear anywhere else. By the book numbers that you need to hear. And in fact, they're numbers I guarantee you won't hear on mainstream media. This is the 3 separate stories of big data that you're going to need to crunch in order to understand the bigger picture of what's really happening in the country right now. Jobs, the border, and affordability. And they all tie in. In fact, we'll get to those coming up after this. Don't go anywhere. You want to join us? You can. Love to hear from you. Thanks to the Good Feet Store for keeping this show and me on our toes, our feet every day. Listen, I understand it's a lot keeping up with the news, but it's a lot keeping up with my 2 little girls. The oldest turns 5 tomorrow, and I'm just like, where did the time go? It's kind of incredible when you think about it. But those 2 little angels that we are entrusted with right now, they are something. And the youngest, I think, even has more energy than the oldest. So it is a day. It's a full-time job, I'll say, keeping up with them, just like it is with this news. And the folks at the Good Feet Store make it possible. We thank them for keeping me on my feet and the show on the air. And boy, the support means a lot. If you've been thinking, gosh, my feet so tired by the end of the day, whether it is a job that you do that's thankless, maybe you're a nurse, maybe you're working on the factory floor, or maybe you're just I don't mean just, but maybe you're just like me and you're a mom, a dad, a grandma, or grandpa, and you want to make sure you're able to do with the comfort the things that you ought to be able to do, the things that matter most with your family and your friends, especially in this holiday season. We got so many things lined up for this weekend with my daughter and her birthday and running around with the holidays. I couldn't do it without the help of the Good Feet Store. Step in and see what all the fuss is about, what I've been ranting and raving about for so long now on 28th Street, right in front of Costco there in Cascade, or in Portage on Westnedge in front of Kohl's, the Good Feet Store. Tell them Justin sent you.
Wherever you are, stream us on your smartphone. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Friday, December 5th. I'm Robin Poffman. Secretary of State Democrat Jocelyn Benson loses again in court. The ruling from the Michigan Court of Appeals marks at least the 8th time courts have ruled her election guidance violates the law. Democrats at odds over that proposed huge new data center in Saline Township. Dana Nessel bill against the project that Jocelyn Benson's husband is pushing. Meanwhile, Governor Whitmer's supporting it and wants the project fast-tracked. This data center will involve the largest increase in energy demand in our state's history. It's taken 5 years, but now the FBI, at the urging of President Trump, cracks the case of the January 6th pipe bomber. He was arrested in Virginia. The man is accused of placing explosive devices outside the DNC and RNC office buildings in Washington, D.C. The guy was tracked down through DNA and license plate readers. Additional bomb parts found in his home. For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Diamond Stud Ear.
All righty then. Hey, couple of good points, and I'm going to go through some more of this January 6th pipe bomber stuff in the after show. But there's a couple of good points, and Terry's made some too. And this is where this is leading. So I'll warn this. Number one, don't get. I understand being frustrated. It's taken so long. This should be a good sign that things are moving in the right direction. There's just so much to move. Tapper must be Ron Burgundy in disguise. That's a good one, Chuck, man. I love that. There's just so much to move. It takes a long time to turn the Titanic, so to speak. Let's just hope this thing ain't going down. We're trying to keep it afloat right now as we're talking about this. We're bailing water, right, and trying to turn the boat at the same time. So this guy and who he is, it matters. Because now you're going to find out that he had ties to Antifa. You're going to find out that his parents, who they were, and who's he on the phone with? He's on the phone. What's that all about? He's on the phone. They got him on camera on the phone. Who's he on the phone with when he's talking to these people? Yeah. Just noticed there's a little beard hair or something on my shirt. Hey, by the way, and Terry, good point. We need to know who's behind it all. Was he a lone wolf? I doubt it. This whole thing stinks to high heaven. You know it was coordinated. I know it was coordinated. And that's where all of this is headed. This is by the way, this is 25% off the One Nation Under God hoodie. And you can grab them right now in the store. I think I told you today's the last day. 25% Xmas 25 is the code. Last day, 25% off inside the Justin store. JustinBarclay.com. Grab your gear. We even got mugs and more inside the store. Mama Boom is listing over on Getter this morning. Mama, appreciate you. Thank you so much. Appreciate the Getters in the house today. Always a pleasure. Before I forget, mypillow.com, mystore.com/Justin. The big story is all of the deals going away. I don't know if they go away today or if they're going away in the next day or so, maybe through the weekend. But I think one of the coolest deals they have for gifts right now is $29.95, the Bible story pillows for your kids, your grandkids. You want to share the reason for the season. That would be the way to do it. Hang on. Back on the air. By the way, use promo code Justin when you do. Flying through yet another hour. Yeah. It's the fastest hour in radio. That's why we started the after show, the show after the show. And we'll do that coming up. Facebook, Twitter, X, Humble, Getter, Locals, Justin, YouTube, did I say? JustinBarclay.com. And the iHeartRadio app, wherever you download your podcast. You can listen to this program live or archive. And yes, please do share the program with other folks. I got some things I got to share with you. We got numbers. Yeah, they always say that science and the data, got to look at the science and the data. Remember Whitmer talking all about that. This is from Bloomberg. U.S. jobless claims fell to 3-year low over Thanksgiving. Some data you need to know. Jobless numbers very positive, underreported. This is jobless claims falling to a 3-year low over Thanksgiving. You're always hearing about how bad the economy is. Now, I'm not saying things are completely turned around, but President Trump continuing to work on that. Here's another number that makes this all happen. Trump's border streak continues with the best November numbers ever. Let me say that again. Trump's border streak continues with the best November numbers ever. Why am I telling you all? You're not going to hear any of this anywhere else. Gas continues to get cheaper in time for the holidays. Again, for any Debbie Downers, for any sky is falling folks, these are the stories that are continually left out. Because they think it's the end of the world anyway. It's not. And then folks on the left, they're not going to give Trump credit for anything. But it's the time for the holiday season. Gas prices going down across the country. We fell below a $3 a gallon average. In Texas, we're seeing as low as under $2 a gallon in some places. And the expensive place I usually drive past my house is $2.78. I can't remember when it was ever that cheap there. You're talking about going back 4
Time for the holiday season, gas prices going down across the country.
Yeah, according to AAA, the national average just under $3 a gallon. That's the lowest it's been since May of 2021. Now here in Texas, the average a lot lower than that, $2.55 a gallon. Now experts say a cheaper blend is coming our way this winter. Oil prices have been dropping as well, from around $81 a barrel in 2022 to nearly $60 in recent weeks.
Yeah, they're going to tell you, it's not Trump didn't have anything to do with it. It's OPEC. Who do you think talks to OPEC? Usually the Saudi crown prince was just here. Who do you think that has a really good relationship made this happen? You see Biden able to get that done? No.
Prices this year have been relatively stable and relatively low. When you look at the national average across the board, starting in January of this year, it's been pretty much a flat line all year long, and that's very rare.
Time for the holiday season, gas prices going down across the country.
Yeah, according to AAA.
So there you have it. Worth mentioning. The numbers you're not going to hear anywhere else. In other numbers, well, they're going to have a completely redrawn in Texas redistricting map. And this may kick Jasmine Crockett completely out of her seat and out of Congress altogether. Texas and this whole thing got kicked by the Supreme Court. They're allowing Texas to redistrict for the midterms. And like I said, Jasmine Crockett, although she's probably going to run for Senate there, she's made a name for herself as some sort of, anti-Trumper, and, she's the resistance and all that. So, it's just all of that is just, it needs to happen. You've seen what's happening in California. Indiana's doing it right now. There's a couple of places that we're looking at doing that. And I'm sure Florida, you're going to see more of this as time goes on. President Trump at the tree lighting last night, national tree lighting, along with Melania, the First Lady.
As we prepare to celebrate the miracle of Christmas, we thank God for his many blessings, and together we rejoice at the true source of greatness, happiness, and strength. The good news is that glorious nights 2,000 years ago, think of it, 2,000 years ago, it was indeed a glorious night. So I want to thank everybody here. I want to pay my deepest respect and love to all of our great citizens, like 350 million people. We love them all.
I don't know if you heard the first part. Let me just rewind. It's probably the most important.
Here to celebrate the miracle of Christmas, we thank God for his many blessings, and together we rejoice at the true source of greatness, happiness, and strength. The good news is that glorious nights 2,000 years ago, think of it, 2,000 years ago, it was indeed a glorious night. So I want to thank.
This is the President of the United States. I don't know if I've ever heard seen it like that before. When we talk about, on a scale that they've done it before, so the president reading something like that, giving that sort of speech, it is something. They're speaking of something else that I want to. It'll tickle you. It'll give you the warm and fuzzies. This woman is something. Okay, she is 107 years old. And I need your help. I'm going to share this. We're going to put it up on the stack today at justinbarclay.com. I need your help to help share this out to other people. Her name is Rosalie Chanelli, I think is her name. I don't know if I pronounced her last name correctly, but she's 107 years old. She loves President Trump. I mean, you'll hear here in a second. She loves the guy. She wants to meet him for her birthday. And I think you and I can probably make that happen. Now, let me see if I can play this for you here. Hang on. Let me see if we can help get this on the air so you can hear what she had to say. She's such a cutie pie. Listen, look at this. She's just gorgeous.
Hi, everyone. President Trump says we're going to get dividend checks pretty soon. I told you
She said we're going to get dividend checks pretty soon.
so. The best president of my lifetime. I'm going to be 107 years old this month, and I've been through many presidents. Matter of fact, 19 presidents. I would love to go to the Capitol.
Did you hear what she said? I've been through 19 presidents.
To visit President Trump. Maybe for my birthday this month, we could arrange a meeting with him. Please tag President Trump and the White House in this video.
I can imagine. I think he would love to meet Rosalie.
My name is Rosalie Cianelli. I am from East Haven, Connecticut, and thank you for your help. Follow me for more videos.
That's an instant follow, by the way. That is an instant follow for Rosalie. 107 years old. You gotta love that. Love to see. I would just love to see her meet the president. Can you imagine what that must be like? And how would it be like for her? Incredible. Let's get her to the White House. JustinBarkley.com. We'll put it up on the stack, and then you can help us share that out. And by the way, thanks. Somebody sent that to me. I'm just blanking right now who that was, but you know who you are. Thank you for the folks that always send me great things that keep us up to date. Got a big after show plan. Barely had enough time to get through this last hour. We'll do it coming up. Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Getter, Locals, YouTube, all the usual suspects as normal, and on the iHeart Radio app. Make it a great weekend. The Glenn Beck program's next. God bless.
Amen. Amen. WOOD Grand Rapids, WOOD FM Muskegon. The news is next on Wood Radio.
All right. What's her hang on. Let me just put, I guess JustinBarkley.com is where it's going to be in the stack, but let me just put this link up in here so you can see her. That'll go right to the video, guys. Since I have a moment to do it, I can just put it right in the chat for you guys. That's why, if you want to know exactly who she is, she's all right. Let's click a few buttons and get the after show started, folks. Are you ready? Alrighty then. Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barkley. Yeah, welcome into the after show, the show after the show. That's why we call it the after show. It is... Well, it's about time, folks. Wrapping up the 25% off Black Friday, Cyber Monday deal sale this week. Wrapping it up. JustinBarkley.com/store. Make sure you get in and get it while the getting is good. T-shirts, hoodies, mugs, and more. Let's just take a look through. Look, see here. You've got the One Nation Under God T-shirts, long sleeve tees, The 90 News conspiracy theories. By the way, women, ladies, where are you? You said you wanted your women's tees, the women tees fits. Guess what? We got them for you. And the long sleeves. So they fit and they feel feminine. We got the Freedom Fam shirts. We got the Alligator Alcatraz, the Gulf of America gear, the beach bag. We've got coffee mugs, the Justin gear, if you just want those to say Justin on them. All of that and more, 25% off in the store. Let's see. What else? Make sure I'm not like, oh, yeah, travel mug. We even got a Gulf of America. We got a Gulf of America bucket hat, so you can wear that on the beach while you're there. And the beach bag. Gulf of America beach bag. Let freedom wave. There you go. I love it. I love it. Grab your gear, grab your tees, your hoodies, and get 25% off. You're going to help support the show, obviously, and keep us rolling. And you'll have conversation pieces, so you can have great conversations with each other, with people about what's going on, and hopefully turn them on to the show so we can continue to grow and get the word out about what's going on. All right. That being said, Tim Walz has a problem, folks. Now, you and I know this. We've known this for a while. This is not, none of this is new. Tim Walz has had lots of problems. But the latest, and I don't know if this is every time it's so convenient. Every time there's something that happens in the news, it is part of the plan. Like the Democrat sort of story is that they'll say, well, like Alyssa Slocum, I had a bomb threat at my farm that I don't even live at. Okay, so there's somebody threatened to do something. Okay, sure. You never forget. We never see violence coming from the right. Like I'm not saying that it can't. Don't get me wrong. Evil can exist in both of those spheres. It's just not as likely. The right isn't usually as unhinged as the left is. But I will tell you, in their storyline, in the arc of what they try to do, they usually they create the whole thing like Alyssa Slotkin, one of the seditious six. They do the video, tell the military members not to follow orders. They do something outrageous, right? And then they go, I'm doing this for the good of the country and for democracy. And, all of that. They tell you how good they are and how pious they are, right? And well-intended, etc. Then it blows up because people look at what they said and they're like, are you kidding me? This is a horrible idea. Why would you do that? And so then the outrage occurs. And then they can go, see, look, I told you these people are unhinged. And in fact, I got a bomb threat. That's what Alyssa Slotkin. And now, Walz, he just never pulls us off right. So there's this back and forth between Walz and Trump, and Walz has celebrated rumors that he thought Trump was dead, and now we're supposed to be sorry that Trump called Walz the R word, which I don't know how we got to the point. I think we were just trying to be polite and say, yeah, we're probably not going to say that word anymore. I think it was around the time the bullying thing came through. It's like, don't bully anybody. Well, some people you should be nice to, but also the bullying thing gets confused. It gets used a lot. For people that are anti-bullies are sometimes the worst bullies. I don't know if you've ever noticed that. The people who say, are you bullying me? Don't be a bully. Don't bully. They're the actual bullies, but they're using the name of the word. It's how the left works. So Trump called him the R word, and now he's out there telling people this story, which I think you'd have to be, let me just say it. I apologize. But I think you'd have to be retarded to believe.
True. This creates danger. And I'll tell you what, in my time on this, I'd never seen this before. People driving by my house and using the R word in front of people. This is shameful. And I have yet to see.
We're supposed to believe people are driving by the governor's mansion in Minnesota yelling the R word out? That's a thing that's happening. And by the way, if they are, it's hilarious. But Nevertheless, these are people. He just think about what he's engaged in, and we're supposed to be concerned that people are using the R word out front of his house. These are people that have thoroughly been corrupted, have allowed people to come in from third world countries, have allowed us to be ripped off the tune of billions of dollars because of the corruption. They've then taken that money, these Somalians in Minnesota, and sent them back to terrorist organizations back in their own home. We're funding it. It's purely evil. And this guy's upset because somebody said the R word out front of his house, which I don't believe either. I just absolutely don't believe that at all. Listen to it again.
This creates danger.
It's a hoax.
And I'll tell you what, in my time on this, I'd never seen this before. People driving by my house and using the R word in front of people. This is shameful. And I have yet to see an elected official, a Republican elected official, say, you're right, that's shameful. He should not say it. So look,
because we don't play the game anymore. We don't play that game. I've yet to see a Democrat say, you probably shouldn't, Democrats, go out and tell members of the military not to follow orders. Illegal or unlawful or whatever you think that might actually mean. You're triggering people to go out, in fact, get in trouble themselves. And maybe even, unfortunately, get somebody killed. We know we got a guardsman killed the other day. She's dead. She's not here because of this rhetoric. We know that's a fact. And because of policies of letting these terrorists into the country. What Biden did to get them here in the first place. We got another one hanging on life support. He's getting better every day. Praise God. We've got to continue to pray for the guy. But this is just incredible that he's all of a sudden worried about words. Again, you can't make this stuff up. It's incredible. It's mind-boggling. And yesterday, again, there's so much you can't even begin to cover everything that's happening. I showed you the tree lighting. I showed you the January 6th pipe bomber. And then Trump's out there. He's got a peace conference going on talking about the Washington Accords, where they have these countries coming together, these African nations that have been fighting for God knows how long.
Compact we're signing today, which will be known as the Washington Accords. Everybody sort of liked that name. Formalizes the terms agreed to in June, including a permanent ceasefire, the disarmament of non-state forces, provisions for refugees to return to their homes, and justice and accountability for those who have committed illegal atrocities. Very importantly, this agreement also creates a new framework for economic prosperity. There's tremendous wealth.
This is how he does it. This is how he does all of this. As he said, look, if you guys can play nice, you can get in on the prosperity that's going to happen here by this deal. Quit fighting. Take a little chunk of the boatload of the money home with you.
And that beautiful earth, it's beautiful earth, but it was stained badly with blood.
He's doing this in the Middle East, and he's doing it there in Africa as well. So that you've got both of those scenarios. This in itself, this is how fast they're moving. This in itself would have been a story for a month. They would have put him on the cover of Time magazine for this alone, by itself. This story by itself. The president of Rwanda talking about it.
But of course.
Don't you remember all the Hollywood actors talking about Rwanda and all the genocide, all the horrible things happening there? Don't you remember they talk? Where are they now? They're awfully silent, aren't they?
The biggest vote of thanks goes to President Donald Trump. No one was asking President Trump to take up this task. Our region is far from the headlines. But when the President saw the opportunity to contribute to peace, he immediately took it.
This is going to transform that area. Everything holds, God willing, it will transform that area for generations to come. It's massive. what else is out there that you ought to see? Oh, Senator Mark Warner out there. You find the Democrats upset that they solved the pipe bomber case. Yeah, how deep does the whole thing go? Well, you got a guy here that just Senator Warner just absolutely can't. He just can't stand that they've got this solved. Can't wrap his head around.
You know, I think it is good news if this perpetrator got arrested. But I got to tell you, it kind of makes me, looking at this crowd doing a victory lap when all the senior FBI officials across all key divisions have been fired for political purposes.
Not all of them. And apparently, if they were fired, that's because they weren't getting the job done and didn't have the answers to this case, Mark. So, Mr. Senator, I would rethink this.
When in some field offices, up to 45% of the FBI officers who were doing things like counter-espionage and cyber.
No, they were doing things like surveilling traditional Catholics who were going to Mass. Parents who were speaking up at school board meetings. And I'm sorry, it was time to cut the cancer out. They're the same ones that spied on Republican senators. Give me a break.
Have been assigned to do immigration cases. It's a little rich that they're saying they're American safer. How much earlier could we have caught this guy if resources hadn't been...
Shut all the way up. Shut all the way up to the top of shut the you-know-what-up mountain. Biden and his people sat on this, your president sat on this for years. And you're saying they could have found this guy a few months quicker if they hadn't fired all these political jackwagons that allowed the thing to happen? Why does no one challenge this? Oh, he's on MS Snow. So he's blowing snow right now. And nobody there is ever going to ask that question. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. Now, there are things about this that we need to walk through a little bit. And some of you asked about this in the comments. So let's walk through it. This is from the John Nance. Julie Kelly, who's been, and she rightfully so asked questions about this when it came out. We talked about this when it happened. We shared the original story, but this is the follow-up to it, and we followed up as well. But this is the follow-up here, and he's talking about what they discovered. All right, so they've gone through, Bondi said they used some things that they've already, there's no real new data. They just went through and took a second look at it. So he goes on to say, for weeks, ex-personalities have been gaslighting about the bona fides of the Blaze story penned by Steve Baker, Hannah Blaze, and Glenn Beck touted as a bombshell story, only to walk back his sensational statements the next day. Now, these guys are upset, and Julie is too, because they didn't get that story. And I'll be honest with you, the story, I there's questions about how it came out, why it came out, and what really happened. Baker described the identification of a female former Capitol Hill police officer in the story as the biggest scandal and conspiracy in American history. He touted it as a positive identification based on gait analysis. Then this guy goes, so by the way, so you have to realize a lot of this back and forth on X is people talking about how big their, the stick they carry with them is, right? That's a lot of this is back and forth. Well, no, I have the story. I detailed this ridiculous presupposition inherent in Baker's story in a post several weeks ago. He links it. Interestingly, gait analysis played no part in the arrest of Brian Cole Jr., alleged J6 pipe bomber. A number of individuals who claim to be FBI SMEs have been maligning Patel and Bongino in an effort to undermine Trump's FBI ongoing. But I'll tell you, that's what's not. I don't know about Steve Baker, and I don't know about John Hanneman I don't know those guys, but I will tell you that Glenn, there is no way Glenn is trying to undermine any one of those individuals or undermine the process. And I'll tell you this. I don't know how public this is, so I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about it, but Glenn doesn't own the Blaze anymore. It's not his organization. He reported it because it looked credible at the time. And I will tell you, I reported the same thing because the Blaze has always been credible. However, this story was, and I will tell you this. It's hard to fully comment and have, because we just still don't know. There's so many questions. Was this individual involved at all? She's been awfully quiet. We do know that she worked for Capitol Police and now she works for the CIA. We don't know. We don't. I think to say any more about it would be irresponsible because we don't have any of that further information. But to say that it's impossible that there would be more people involved in this than this guy that they've arrested, that's crazy. The Blaze Scoop, the guy, by the way, this Kyle Seraphin guy, they have a real beef with him too, and I don't know him either, so I can't say. But I will say, is he a Blaze guy? I don't know. I can't tell. I will say that a lot of what you're seeing is kind of the back and forth between these two. I think some of this is healthy, but at the same time, I think a lot of it is not. It's very similar to what's happening with Candace Owens and TPUSA and some of these other things right now. Look, we need to get to the truth. We need to get to the truth in the case of what happened to Charlie Kirk, who was behind it. More importantly, what happened exactly. We need to get to the truth in this story as well. But fighting about who got what story and who got what right, I mean, that's not going to help anybody. Really, it's real. And so then you got like the back and forth of the rest of this stuff. I'm just telling you guys, we still don't know all of the answers here. Now, what is a problem is how it plays out afterwards. Notice, I'm going to tell you, I've never said anything bad about Kash Patel or Dan Bongino. Never will. And again, there are lots of things happening on a timetable that we don't fully know and understand. So you have to configure that in as well. But it is confusing, and it's confusing to people when they hear, number one, we got her, right? This is who did it. And then nothing else about it. The FBI comes out and says, yeah, that's not who it is. And then finally, a few weeks later, you get the news that this guy has been caught. So it is confusing for people. And it's something that I think needs to be discussed, but it also should not overshadow what really happened. Sean Davis writes, pretty wild Christopher Wray was able to hunt down Grammy McMeemaw. That's a great name. Granny McMeemaw. Using nothing but a pixelated photo of a partial shoe print and DNA analysis of a single strand of fiber from her hand knit scarf found on the Capitol steps, but he couldn't find the J6 pipe bomber despite having his license plate, cell phone tower pings, purchase history, or video of him walking right by the RNC and DNC. This is what we shouldn't lose sight of, folks. I got to retweet that. That's so good. Anything else is pulling us off of that track. We got to make sure we stay focused. And I will just tell you, there's a lot of division. Some of it's intentional. Lots of it, most of it probably intentional. Some of it is unintentional. Some of it is just good people that are fighting for the truth. And maybe they're a little bit off track, right? Maybe they're a little bit off on how it all comes out and how it comes together. But it is so important that we get the truth, that we get answers, that we actually find out. In this case, also with what happened to Charlie Kirk, all of them. we must have a relentless, a ruthless drive to get down to the core of the truth on all of it. But we also must stay vigilant and not waver in our principles to get there. And on top of it, we got to make sure that we don't get pulled in the wrong direction. We got to understand, like, the fight we're in right now is bigger than anything we can imagine. Look, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Not against flesh and blood. We there's so many other things that are happening here that are so important. We've got to make sure that we continue with that. We had a great conversation the other day about women's health and what's happening right now in the MAHA movement, by the way. MAHA, Missy was on. She had a great conversation. If you haven't seen it, it'll be part of the podcast that'll be released later this week. Actually, this weekend. The sale wraps up. Maybe I'll release that podcast today. I don't know. The sale wraps up today for the Black Friday My Pure Health Solution Black Friday sale. It's not just weight loss, folks. These people can help you get your life back on track, especially if you're feeling off in some other ways. You know, they have that female hormone event, it's an online virtual event that they're doing next Tuesday. If you're having issues, and they were discussing about something I have no idea about, I just tell you personally. You know, I've seen my mom go through it, but, you know, just the whole, the change, you know, go through all of that. It's something that they've dug down to, but hormones play such a big role in your weight loss and your health altogether. You may want to dig in and find out more. The Black Friday sale, help you get back on track. I'm down 30 pounds. My wife down 23. We're shopping for clothes in our closet, wearing stuff that used to not fit anymore, but now it does. Healthwithjustin.com. It is the last day to do it. So give them a call. They'd love to talk to you. And, of course, get that rate locked in, the lowest price of the entire year at healthwithjustin.com. You've heard the stories. You've seen my results. You've seen the results of so many other people that have locked in. Healthwithjustin.com. They're doing fantastic. And I cannot wait to see what your results are, too. There's Trucker Randy up north. He's dropped out almost 100 pounds. The guy is doing incredible. It's great to see all of this. This is how we make America great again, by the way. One person at a time. It starts with us. Healthwithjustin.com. So log on and check that out. Get it done today. Get it done today before the time runs out. Okay. One more thing. Secretary Noem last night talking about the travel ban President Trump is putting into place, particularly from these third world countries that are such a risk.
Now, well, we hear this is perhaps expanding to 32 countries. Can you confirm that? And could you tell us which are some of the countries they're adding to that list?
I won't be specific on the number, but it's over 30. And the president is continuing to evaluate countries. Listen, if they don't have a stable government there, if they don't have a country that can sustain itself and tell us who those individuals are and help us vet them, why should we allow people from that country to come here to the United States?
Yeah, no more messing around. No more nonsense. Secretary Noem, President Trump, you've seen some of the things that we've been up against. You've seen some of the issues that we've been fighting. I showed you that story earlier today about the guy from Cuba. Just incredible. This guy here in the country illegally, a sex offender, nabbed for messing with kids again. 44-year-old from Grand Rapids, charged in Kent County. The story at the Midwesterner. I put it up on the stack today so you can read all about it. It's one that I guess I haven't seen anybody else, any other news outlet cover other than the Midwesterner. They continue to give you the truth and make that effort to do so on a daily basis. It's big. All right. Gotta say this. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. Whether you are somebody, and by the way, we're going to switch over here in just a little bit. to the VIP after party over on Locals. JustinBarclay.com/locals if you want to join. There is a sweet Black Friday, Cyber Monday deal that wraps up today. So if you want to get that, use code VIP bonus to get in. VIP bonus will lock you in. 4 months free for an entire year. That's probably the best. Like I said, it ends up being like $6 a month. 4 months free for a whole year. Now, if you're looking at Lifetime, becoming a Lifetime or a Founder Lifetime supporter, help keep this program on the go. We appreciate you. You can send me an email and I'll fill you in on the details. Justin@justinbarclay.com. In the meantime, lots of gear is 25% off in the store at Justin Store. Go to justinbarclay.com/store if you want to lock in and get your 25% off. And in the meantime, we told you yesterday, it looks like at least anyway, that Mike Lindell is going to announce a run for governor in Minnesota. You can help Mike as he's been in the fight, election integrity, to save the country in so many different ways. Look at all these great prices. Pillows, $14.98. Slippers, $39.98. We got blankets, comforters, and duvets as low as $25. That 5-pack of the Bible story pillows that I picked up for our girls, $29.98. Save 50% off on the My Coffee. All kinds of great stuff and gear inside the My Store as well from Made in America partners. Yes, you can get all these deals. Help support Mike and this program when you go online today, mypillow.com or mystore.com/Justin, and help keep everything rolling and alive. We just thank you always for being here. Whether you are buying something from one of our sponsors and supporters, we got a big one coming up the first of the year, folks. I can't wait to share with you because it's a great company. It's going to save you a lot of money, number one. Number two, but thirdly, they're in the fight. And I just can't wait to share that with you at the first year. Whether you're buying something for one of our sponsors, whether you're one of our VIP members, or maybe you're just somebody who sits here every day, you listen to these stories, you get engaged, you get involved, you comment, right? And you share what we're doing. Boy, you just help keep this movement alive. We appreciate it. And most importantly, we appreciate your prayers. Thank you so much. And we'll see you Monday. Make it a great one, folks. God bless.